Hey, I'm PH and welcome to Good Bible Knowledge with PhD. In this set of videos, I want to study the words and works of Jesus to give a clear understanding and a deeper appreciation of the love of God expressed through this most important figure in human history. And I hope these videos will be helpful in your own spiritual journey in Jesus. Let's get started. Each of the four Gospels begins the narrative of Jesus in a different way based on their own particular emphasis. The book of John emphasizes Jesus as the Son of God and looks at Jesus from a cosmic standpoint, starting from the very beginning of creation. Mark emphasized the ministry of Jesus and begins with Jesus' baptism. Matthew is concerned with presenting Jesus as the prophesied Messiah, the King, and he begins with Jesus' royal lineage. In chapter 1, verse 1 of Matthew, it says, "A record of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham." Jesus, Yeshua, means Yahweh saves. Christ is a title derived from the Hebrew word, the Anointed One. At that time, the first question concerning any claim of messiahship would be, is he a son of Abraham, meaning is he of Jewish heritage, and is he descended from the house of David, the kingly line? For this was an inexorable prerequisite for the Messiah. The temple in Jerusalem contained meticulous genealogical records, and the religious leaders would have vigorously examined Jesus' claim of Davidic descent. Matthew thus establishes that Jesus indeed met the first important requirement of the one who has the right to redeem the nation and reign as king. The Gospel of Luke emphasizes the historical record, and thus it opens by placing the birth of Jesus in its historical context, identifying Herod, who reigned as the king of Judea at that time. Luke also contains extended material on the birth of John the Baptist, the forerunner of Jesus. During ancient times, it was customary for a royal visitor to be preceded by a forerunner. A forerunner would enter the city to announce the impending arrival of the king, to allow its citizens to prepare. The prophet Malachi predicted that Jesus would be preceded by a forerunner who would call the nation to prepare their hearts for his coming. Luke 1 introduces us to Zechariah the priest and his wife Elizabeth. The name Zechariah means the Lord remembers, and Elizabeth means the promises of God. Together their names affirm the Lord remembers his promises. Zechariah and Elizabeth were upright in the sight of God and were looking forward to the coming king from heaven. Though Elizabeth was barren, they continued to pray that God would give them a child. On the Day of Atonement, Zechariah was assigned the coveted task of offering incense in the most holy place in the temple at Jerusalem. Early in the morning, as the trumpets called the nation to worship, Zechariah entered the holy place bearing the golden censer. Upon entering the most holy place, the angel Gabriel suddenly appeared, and Zechariah was overcome with great wonder and fear. The angel announced a joyous message. "Zechariah, do not be afraid, for God has heard your prayers. Your wife Elizabeth will have a son, and you are to give him the name John, which means the grace of God." The angel Gabriel went on to say, "John will be great in the sight of the Lord, and he will be filled with the Holy Spirit even from birth, and his preaching will bring many people back to the Lord." Upon hearing these words, Zechariah's first response was, "How can I be sure of this? For my wife is barren, and we are both advanced in age." The angel gave a sign to Zechariah that he would be unable to speak until his son was born. A few days later, the words of the angel were fulfilled, and Elizabeth became pregnant, and she immediately proclaimed, "This indeed is the work of the Lord, for he has shown me great favor and taken away my disgrace from among the people." Though Elizabeth at that time was speaking of her own miraculous pregnancy, her words foreshadowed what the coming of Jesus would mean for the entire world. Through his death on the cross and his resurrection, Jesus would remove the curse of sin and bring God's favor to everyone who would receive him by faith. This story of Zechariah and Elizabeth reminds us that we too must be preparing our hearts for Jesus' return. Thanks for listening to another episode of Good Bible Knowledge. We'll see you next time.